Since COH3's release, Relic have significantly altered a lot of gameplay mechanics related to capturing territory, making my previous video on this topic nearly obsolete. So in this video, I will provide all of the up-to-date info and techniques to teach you how to capture territory like a pro. Here's some terminology up front. Capturing territory is making it go from neutral to under your control, and reverting, which is often called decapturing, is making the point go from enemy controlled to neutral. Low resource points take 20 seconds to capture and 15 seconds to revert. Medium resources take 30 seconds to capture and 25 to revert. High resources take 40 seconds to capture and 35 to revert. The strategic points that grant manpower take 20 seconds to capture and 15 seconds to revert. You may have noticed they all take 5 seconds less to revert than capture. However, victory points are different. They take 25 seconds to capture, but only 10 seconds to revert. All of these times apply to units that have a capture rate of 1. But in COH3, there are a lot of units that have faster capture and revert rates, which will shorten down these times. For instance, the US Forces Scout has a capture rate of 1.5. When capturing a low resource point, this cuts the time taken from 20 seconds down to 13 1/3. So now I'm going to cover the capture rates of every unit by faction, so you can see which units are the fastest at capturing territory. First off, all crewed team weapons, this means heavy machine guns, AT guns and mortars, for every faction have a capture rate of 1, so I will exclude them from the charts. Here are the capture and revert rates for US Forces Infantry, listed alphabetically. Some units get a capture rate boost from veterancy, which I have also included here. Do note that capture rate bonuses are multipliers. For instance, the Scout gets plus 50% capture at Vet 2, so multiply their natural 1.5 capture rate by 1.5 from the veterancy bonus to get the final capture rate of 2.25. And here are the US Forces vehicles that are able to capture territory. Now let's check out the other boosts US Forces can get related to capturing territory. At Vet 1, the Weasel gets a veterancy option called Signal Layer. Whenever the Weasel captures a resource point, the income from it is boosted by 3. In the Special Operations Battle Group, Assault Operation gives a plus 200% boost to capture and decapture rate, which we know is a 3 times multiplier. This brings the Scout's capture time of a low resource point down to about 4.5 seconds. Here are all of the capture rates for Wehrmacht units, including upgrades and veterancy bonuses. The Kettenkrad with communication cables upgraded and Vet 3 is the best unit in the game at capturing territory. Now let's check out what other territory mechanics Wehrmacht has available. As of patch 2.1, you no longer get vision around a capture flag while it is under your control. However, if you upgrade communication cables on your Kettenkrad and then capture a point with it, you get a circle of vision around the flag, and this can really help with your map awareness. Though your opponent can tell you have vision there because this eye icon appears on the point. In the mechanized battle group, Raid Package allows light vehicles to capture points, granting them a capture and revert rate of 1. In the Breakthrough battle group, the Breakthrough ability gives plus 100% to infantry capture and revert rates. In the Terror battle group, Contempt for the Weak gives infantry plus 33% to capture and revert rate for 15 seconds after an enemy that was nearby them retreats. Here are the capture rates for British units. All British squads have capture rates above 1, but upgrades and veterancy bonuses to capturing are less common than with the other factions. Now we're checking out the other territory mechanics for the British forces. Naval blockade prevents enemy units from capturing neutral territory, but won't stop them from reverting points you hold. Using burnout on an enemy point will drop fire onto it and automatically revert the point if the enemy is unable to keep a unit inside the circle to prevent it. After the point gets neutralized by burnout, there is a 50% capture and revert rate boost to any friendly or enemy unit capturing that point for the next 60 seconds. Here are the capture rates for Afrika Korps. Notice that only the Vet 3 Kruitschützen has a revert rate bonus. And I have included the vehicle capture you can upgrade through the armory. Now let's check out the Afrika Korps territory mechanics. At Vet 1, Palm Grenadiers get a passive called Mechanized Advance. This gives them plus 33% to capture rate when they are inside or on top of a vehicle. Mechanized Advance also lasts for 30 seconds after disembarking. In the Italian Combined Arms Battle Group, there is Vehicle Support Secure Location. This gives your infantry plus 25% to capture and revert rate when they are near a friendly vehicle. In the Italian Infantry Battle Group, when you activate Sound the Alarm on a friendly point, it provides vision of the area and slows the enemy's revert rate on it. Slowed down to the point that a squad with a revert rate of 1 can only just neutralize a low resource point before the ability is over. If you plant a territory booby trap, after being triggered, it slows the enemy's capture on that point for the next 20 seconds. In Panzerjäger Command, if you select Early Warning, it provides a circle of vision around the flag of points that your team controls. Here are some of the basic principles of capturing territory. Having multiple units in the same circle does not make the capture go faster, so spread out if you want to gain ground more rapidly. Since you are now familiar with which units have faster capture rates, in general you should prioritize capturing with them, though there can be exceptions. For instance, Rangers have a great capture rate, but they are also very expensive and valuable in combat, so it might be better to capture with an engineer instead, even though it only has a capture rate of 1. And if a unit with a good capture rate is really far away, it is probably better to capture with whatever is closest instead. Units that can move quickly, like the Kettenkrad or Basiglieri, will greatly cut down travel time between points, leading to faster territory gains. And try to be mindful of your unit's retreat path. If you retreat from capturing deep on the enemy's side of the map, there is a high chance of that unit getting killed before it makes it back to base. Introduced in patch 1.9, some units will gain experience whenever they complete a capture or revert on a point. Here are all of the units for each faction with this capability, so wherever it's practical, try to capture with these units to help vet them up. Look for opportunities to cut the enemy's resources off. Resource points need to be connected to the base to generate income. And a lot of maps feature designs where if you capture a strategic point on the enemy's side of the map, it can disconnect a large chunk of their territory, severely hurting their income. And with a revert time of just 15 seconds, you can inflict a cutoff much faster than reverting all the points downstream individually. Now let's cover some territory capture tactics that I like to use. It is a common occurrence for you to force an enemy to retreat from a point before they have completed capturing it. If you enter that partially captured point with a unit that has a revert rate larger than 1, you can undo their progress faster. Though, as you may have noticed in my charts, revert rates above 1 are far less common than capture rates above 1. So if they had a lot of progress on the capture meter, I will continue to push forwards and let the point tick down to neutral on its own. Then I give the capture order to a more support-oriented unit that is somewhat nearby to avoid wasting time on my combat unit. After I force an enemy away from a point that is on my side of the map, quite often I will continue pushing up the map with my attacking unit, with the aim of taking more territory away from the enemy. Then I give the capture order to a unit like a mortar, because this area of the map is now safe and I might not know where the enemy is located, so there's nothing for the mortar to shoot at anyway. If I have multiple units in an area and force the enemy back, usually I will send the healthy units forward to continue attacking and leave the wounded unit behind to capture territory. I will also queue up a retreat command on this wounded unit by holding Shift and pressing R, so they automatically retreat back to base for reinforcements after they have completed capturing. At the start of the match, connecting fuel is usually most important, because it allows you to tech up and make vehicles. But on some maps, it can be better to rush to a spot and construct defenses or take control of a garrison. This leads to better control of that area for the first few minutes and more resources in the long term. Now, here are some micro tips to help you capture territory more effectively. The normal way to capture territory at the start of the game is to queue up a bunch of capture commands on the minimap or tactical map by holding Shift and right-clicking the points in the order you want them to be captured. But when you give commands like this, the squad moves into the circle and stands on the side that they arrive from. They only start to move to the next point after the capture order has been completed. This means it takes about 4 seconds for the squad to exit the circle, which is essentially wasted time. Here is what you should do instead. Give a right-click command at the edge of the capture circle on the side that is closest to the next point that you want to capture. Then hold Shift and right-click the capture flag. Keep holding Shift and right-click the next capture circle edge in the same manner. This way the unit doesn't have to travel through the circle after the capture is completed. So they arrive at the next point about 4 seconds earlier. I highly recommend using this trick at the start of the game when not much is happening. Here is a slight adaptation for vehicles that capture like the Kettenkrad, targeting the same spot on the capture circle, but this time hold right-click and drag towards the next capture point. Then queue up the subsequent capture orders. This way the vehicle can drive straight to the next point after the capture is completed. They don't get slowed down by needing to do a turn first. Or even more annoying and slow is when they have to drive around the capture flag to get to the next point. Both of those delays are avoided with this trick. This capture technique is possible thanks to the recent 2.1 patch that altered capture behavior. Also, thanks to those changes, you now have the ability to move your squad into cover on a point, queue up a capture command on it, and then onto the next point. The result is the squad will remain in cover the entire time they are capturing. Now obviously this makes constructing cover like sandbags inside of capture circles much more powerful, since it is now far easier to use that cover during capturing. But as of patch 2.0, you can no longer construct defenses like sandbags while you capture. How I adapt to this is if the territory point is in a safe area of the map, I will queue up the construction of defenses after the capture is complete, so I get the resources from it flowing as early as possible. But if I think I may be attacked while I'm capturing and there is no good cover nearby for my unit to use, I will construct the defenses first. This will delay the capture, but it makes it harder for the enemy to push thereafter, giving me a better chance of actually completing the capture while taking reduced damage. Do note that you can still repair vehicles while capturing, so look for opportunities to do so safely. This also applies to auto repair on units like the Kreuzschützen, so backcapping a safe point while it auto repairs is a very efficient play. Queuing up capture commands remains important all game long, because you might get stuck microing a fight that demands all of your attention, and if you didn't queue up commands on your other units, they will just be sitting there idle instead of moving up the map and capturing. If you are trying to capture a point in an area of the map where there could be enemies, you should consider changing the type of command that you give to your unit. For instance, on a squad that is a long-range specialist, like a Bren upgraded infantry section, you should give them an attack move command onto the point. This way, as soon as they spot an enemy, they will stop at max range and start to shoot at them. So before you are able to notice the engagement and react to it, the squad is fighting at their optimal range and taking minimal damage from the enemy, which is great. Whereas a capture command in the same scenario would have that long-range specialist charging into close range and ultimately having to retreat. However, for a unit that is a close-range specialist, like a Thompson Gurkha, charging into close range is what you want. So giving a normal capture command is better for those close-range specialists. Now you have all the knowledge you need to capture territory like a pro.
That was a little too easy, eh?
And if you want to support the production of videos like this, join up to my Patreon.